Hey, it's Matt. Welcome to Unbearable 73. I'm doing a review of Season 2, Episode 1 of Sharpe. Now, you may notice something a little sharper about my scan-throughs. I loved this so much that I went out and got, if you saw my live stream 2 weeks ago, basically I found the Blu-rays for Sharpe, all of it. I had to get them as Region 2 imports, but that's your tech, that's easy to deal with. They're on sale on eBay. The whole set of them, I think, for like $40. I mean, that's all obviously used. Brand new would have been, if they were still in print, that would have been like $100 plus purchase. So, goodbye. They're all excellent quality. Blah blah blah. Anyway. So let's get right into this. So this is season 2, episode 1, Sharpe's Company. Obviously based on that book by Cornwell. My number one criticism with this episode, and I still love the episode, there's nothing wrong, I still enjoyed watching it greatly, was either the writing, the editing, or the direction. Somewhere it like, to me, there were pieces of the story missing. I don't know if they edited them out, never filmed them, therefore never wrote them. Somewhere in there's something, right? And I'll probably talk about it as I drag through the movie. But for example, it takes place an indeterminate amount of time, at least at the beginning, after the previous episode, which is the end of this first season, right? And which is Sharpe's Eagle, right? And Sharpe has made a name for himself as a lieutenant, and then he got the promotion to captain, right? So he and Teresa have been in a relationship for at least long enough to have a child that's at least a year old. Okay, so we meet that child in this episode. I would say the child's, based on the child's around a year old. No, actually, no, maybe 8 months. It's a big baby, so that's. I mean, then again, it could be the acting baby, but fine. But that's not the real issue. The real issue is early on in the episode, Sharpe wants to marry her. They talk about it, right? But all of a sudden, in the later part of the episode, they're married. So, did they get married off scene, or did they just saying they're married for the sake of honor and all that? Either that had to be made clear that they were doing that, saying it for that reason, or they had to show the marriage, right? So one of the two. So that's my number one criticism. That somewhere in the writing direction or editing, it seemed like there were pieces of the story that just got. You knew they happened because you could follow it, but they just seemed like they were never filmed or edited out. Okay. So that being said, what's our plot? This is obviously a couple years later. Sharpe was promoted to captain in the previous episode, but like the army at the time is not a meritocracy like our modern army is supposed to be, modern military. So officers are born from the noble and upper classes, and they can buy their rank, buy commissions essentially. So if you want to be a captain and command a company, and you're a second son who wants to make a name for yourself and maybe get a piece of land for yourself, you can buy a field commission, well, as a captain, say, and command a particular company. And since the army needed money and the crown wanted money, that's just how the world worked for thousands of years, right? So Sharpe loses his captaincy, gets demoted back to lieutenant, which they can't take away because he earned that rank by saving Wellington, and they want to try to shove him off to another region, but they can't because he's Wellington. He's in with Wellington, and early on the officers kind of plot around that, because they still don't like he's risen from the ranks, but Wellington loves this guy, so, and he's effective. They establish early that Sharpe is effective. There's no doubting his competency, right? So then we get So he becomes a lieutenant, and they put him in the logistics area, taken away from the combat men. So his unit of chosen men, the riflemen, I still understand. I don't know the whole difference between the red coats and the blue coats and all that yet. I probably should do some research on that. It would be fascinating to know that more. But so and Sharpe's company, his squad of chosen men, kind of get dispersed into the red coats. Did a lot of politics with that, but another thing we do is we meet an old enemy of Sharpe's from before the series began, probably in one of the prequel novels, the character gets expanded on. But Sergeant Obadiah Hickswell, a truly despicable a character in the good sense, meaning he's a villain, right? And he has a backstory where this guy basically robs other soldiers and then blackmails them and stuff. And we got Sharpe blamed for some theft, and when they were in India, and that's why Sharpe got flogged, right? Uh, he's a despicable. Hickswell is despicable. He bribes guys, and so that it makes their wives have sex with him, and he's obviously a rapist, and all that sort of stuff. So what our ongoing plot threads are Sharpe and Teresa have a baby. Teresa is still the lethal spy, the Viper. Where Hickswell ruining things, and what makes it worse, Hickswell is a semi-competent sergeant, right? Like he does seem to be able to drill the men and all that, but Sharpe's antagonism towards him is rough. But Hickswell, as we learn, is a coward too. So we have the officer interplay with the officers, with the competency issues and all that. And there's a seed. They're laying siege to Ciudad Rodrigo, a town fortress that is necessary for them to beat to go into northern Spain. So, and the premise, the reason Sharpe's friend, Colonel William Lawford, was the commander of the regiment that Sharpe had the captaincy in. So, when another guy gets that commission, so he takes money from young officers who basically replace Sharpe, right? And because all these young nobles want to make their name in this war that's going on. So Sharpe finds out he has a kid that's in this early sequencing. So we got Hickswell, Sharpe, in this political situation with the army and the siege. What makes it worse is that Teresa has left the child in Ciudad Rodrigo with her only family and friends that she could trust to keep the kid's identity a secret. So we can see all the stuff that's going on. And now, remember I mentioned that everyone respects Sharpe. All the new officers all look to Sharpe because they know he's a great leader of men. He gives them advice. A young officer becomes like a follower of his and trying to learn from him. The other colonels and captains and lieutenants are all, for the most part, are all like Sharpe's. They're having him guide them and help train. There's no doubting Sharpe's competency, right? So. That's kind of the plot line for this, right? So let's take a look-see through it, and then I'll have maybe some more comments at the end. So this is right. This is when Lawford gets hit. I believe this is when Lawford gets hit. Okay. Now the premise here, what you'll find in all of these, this is true even in the modern military, right? So this guy here, let's see if I can get his face on there. He should appear soon. Right in here somewhere. If I can't catch it, I'm not going to be able to. They're right there. So, it's every unit has like a kind of a captain or a colonel attached to it. That's their intelligence guy. We saw the guy in the first two episodes. The actor, he's attached to Wellington. This guy's attached to Colonel Colonel Wyndham. This is Wyndham's guy, and he is he knows Teresa, respects her, so he's kind of on Sharpe's side in this, but he's not as protective of Sharpe as the other officers were from Wellington's crew, and right. So you got to keep that in mind. And this is after a big battle, and then he's starting to meet the new people. There's Colonel there's the new officers, Wyndham and all that. They come across, there's Sharpe and Teresa. Sharpe sends one of his men off to hunt the rabbit. Everything's going on. This is on the right is the young ensign who's wealthy, from a wealthy family. This guy's trying to get him as a patron, and Sharpe sees he's a shark. So he protects the kid and says, and the kid knows Sharpe is, adheres to go, starts following Sharpe around to learn from him. So this is when Sharpe first encounters Hakeswill. And the actors do great. They establish that they hate each other. The characters hate each other right away. There's no, there's no Sean Bean is a very underrated actor, right? People, I wish he would get more big roles. He's got a lot of good roles, like Boromir is probably, and Ned Stark, two most he's well known for, but maybe he's just very selective about what he does. I don't know, but he's an A-level actor to me. He's as good as any other, like Viggo Mortensen or Christopher Lee. Well, maybe not quite Christopher Lee, but maybe he's just very selective. I don't know, but these two guys establish right away that their characters hate each other. And Sharpe isn't, even though Sharpe's not a captain anymore, I think at this time Sharpe is still a captain. And so he orders that lieutenant to stay away from his entire company, right? So that sergeant stay away from his company because he knows he's a bad sergeant. So Harper and Hakeswill get into it. Sharpe breaks it up. And, then we get the interaction between Teresa, who has to go back into the field, but Sharpe is telling her to get that child out of the city because they're going to besiege it. Teresa, for various reasons, either Teresa doesn't take that as seriously, or she puts our mission before her family, or whatever. I don't know. That's one thing I think was missing in the writing, like explaining some of the character choices. So this guy here on the right is Wyndham, okay? And he comes across, the actor and the writing, they did a great job with this guy. He comes across as maybe a little foppish and not as a serious commander, but you do respect him by the end. He learns how to, he knows when when he orders Harper flogged, which we'll see later, because Hakeswill flamed Harper for stealing some stuff. He knows he lost the whole company when he did that, because he knows, he kind of knows that Harper is not the one who stole it, but he did it. At the end of when Harper is flogged, and Harper takes the 100 lashes and just doesn't cry, doesn't complain, and walks off, Wyndham gained his respect for him and appreciates him as a soldier, as a strong person. So that builds your respect for him as a character. Like early on, you think he's a political asshole, and they do a good job building respect for this guy. I wonder if he's in the next two movies as Sharpe's overall commander, because that would be a good thing if they build on that relationship. Now he respects Sharpe, and he respects the Chosen Men, and he respects Sharpe as a captain eventually at the end as he gets captain back. I'm wondering if they built Cornwell, when he wrote it, built it that way, and they followed through with that, so they can how would you say we'll have a working relationship that continues to grow as the season progresses, right? So this is when Sharpe gets demoted. This is when you're thinking negatively of the new commanders, but Sharpe is not, So Hakeswill, this is Hakeswill attempting to assert authority over the men again, but they're still Sharpe's men because he's a lieutenant. But then Sharpe is eventually going to get taken out of that unit and put into the logistics unit, which because Wellington is still given orders to protect Sharpe, right? because apparently, again, this is something that they was missing in a scene that should have been shown. But Wellington had said, like this guy and others, look, you gotta do what you gotta do because these guys are paid the captaincy, and back in London, they were not confirmed Sharpe's captaincy. Like, I believe the lieutenant, this didn't have to be confirmed because that's a lower rank, but to become a captain, when you get the, I think it's called a brevet promotion, BREVET, excuse me, BVR, excuse me, BREVET. When you get to brevet promotion in the field, that has to be confirmed. And I know in the U.S. military that had to be confirmed, but you could receive the field promotions. I had some relatives in World War II who were promoted to officer from enlisted man just because all the officers were killed at some point. And some of them were confirmed and someone back in the enlisted rank, and they were happy with that because they didn't want to be officers, you know. So they didn't confirm Sharpe's captaincy, and now Sharpe is under protection because Sharpe wants to get that captaincy because he knows he has a daughter now, and he knows he has to have that to ensure that his daughter is proper, take care of his daughter and his men. He needs that captaincy back, so he wants to go into an aggressive frontline circumstance where he can earn a promotion they can't take away from him. He knows this siege is coming up. For example, he wants to be on the actual besieging troopers, so to be one of the, because the first guys in there, if they live and the siege succeeds, the breaking the siege succeeds, they get promoted and they can't bar it, you know. So that's kind of where this stands right now. Now this is the wife. These are the camp followers, and many of them are wives of the troopers. You got a little. This is where you start to gain a little respect for Wyndham there. Basically, instead of like putting the kibosh and he has a little. He has the interplay happens with the civilian women who she's breastfeeding, and he kind of plays a straight man to it. And he doesn't overreact and bar them or whatever, and So this is where the Viper strikes. She has a Spanish name. She murks this dude. Lure him in with the honeypot and boom. Yep. That's his wife, the woman with the baby there. And this is a kind of sad couple, but I don't know. I don't know if Hickswell kills both these kids or they're just orphans, but Hickswell is eventually going to, after that guy dies in battle, he's going to basically grape the wife, and I'm presuming going to kill the kids. This is Sharpe using his lieutenant rank to wreak some humiliation on Hickswell. So the French attempt to so the British are digging trenches for siege lines, and this is a young captain. This is the guy who bought the captaincy of Sharpe's unit, but Sharpe organizes the men, they take back they take back the trenches from the British, from the French. And this young captain, I can't remember his name right now. He gained respect for Sharpe as well. So this is when we find out Hickswell is stealing stuff from everyone. This when Harper gets framed by Hickswell. Very well played. Again, they're building a little like towards Wyndham there, but they're also establishing that some dislike. So you don't know where to go with the character, right? But they're developing his character very well. This is Harper and Sharpe talking about the flogging. And my understanding is that these are, even though we think of Sean Bean as the lead for this, these two guys are your main characters for the rest of this series, right? So other characters show up as support characters, but these two guys are everywhere, right? This is him taking the flogging, if I recall. Yep. This is when he knew he lost the men. He's commenting about that. This is the officers having dinner. Talking about. I mean, it's again they established this guy. He Sharpe. He's a holdover. Even though I don't think I think it's a different actor, and he respects Sharpe, and you know. So he's been shot. The leader here has been shot. Wyndham. So Wyndham's commander comes in and. So Teresa gets a French guy who wants to defect to the British and gives him the intelligence because she was supposed to come out with the intelligence, but she doesn't want to do it. She knows it's a risking her life and her baby. So she's like, okay, I'll give you this. If you can get this to them, you can defect, She puts a message for Sharpe in there as well. This is like a troop inspection. So Sharpe's men are okay. So one of the big differences some people may not catch is Sharpe's men is an elite the chosen men. They're for bravery and all that. They're scouts, but they're also riflemen. They don't just have muskets, and rifles are more expensive and rare. Okay, and he has like a custom made hand cannon basically that Sharpe gave him. It's like a heavy duty, fires 6 bullets basically. And his men, Sharpe's men, are best used as a sort of a sharp shooting platoon essentially, and they get grossly misused because Hakeswill doesn't keep them as a separate support unit to take guys out with their long range accuracy. Instead, he intermixes them back with and makes them like just any other redcoats, which is disrespectful to them because they're well that being chosen men. They're well established as elites. This is that young ensign. Is he an ensign? Whatever he is, following Sharpe and trying to learn because he's like hero worshiping Sharpe and trying to respect him and all that. So this is again the same thing. They're doing some night scouting. I recall that correctly. This is when the trooper comes. Sharpe, they're on patrol, and Sharpe knows something's going down. So he's trying to get to the field to try to check what's going on. They accidentally shoot the guy with the intelligence. And this is where Hakeswill. So Sharpe is sneaking up there. He knows there's intelligence guy with intelligence coming out, and they're trying to. He thinks it's Teresa, right? He runs up to be with Sharpe, and Hakeswill is going to try to murder Sharpe right here, but the kid inadvertently gets in the way, and they don't see who shot him. So there's Sharpe talking to that guy's wife to say, "Oh, things are going good. Have a family, blah blah blah." They're showing you our character because of what happens is very tragic. Now here, what they're trying to do with those cannons is make a breach through the wall so they can pour through it and break the defenses. Then when Sharpe finds out that some more of his stuff is missing, he suspects but can't prove it's Hakeswill. Now Hakeswill he breaks the chosen men back down to being redcoats, and he's about to dispose of their special jackets and their but Sharpe comes up and takes the stuff away because he wants to, he knows he'll get his men back once Wellington gets involved. This is Sharpe asking them to take the lead. They're talking about the breach effect, and Sharpe wants to be on the line to get a guaranteed captaincy back. He's asking permission, but because Wellington is having it under protection, they won't grant it. So they're getting ready for the siege, and you got some singing going on, blah blah blah. And now this is him asking. At this point, Wyndham has gained respect of. It's a really great build to this point. All the officers now respect Sharpe, and he goes to Wyndham and says he doesn't ask anything for himself. He knows he's been out of the battle. He said, "Can my men have their proper uniforms to go into battle with?" And he's even getting emotional. I love this moment. Show him it's great acting, it's great writing. It pulls on my heartstrings, man. That and he gained the respect of the colonel, and the colonel's going to grant his wish so his men could go into battle with their proper uniforms and proper weapons as chosen men and riflemen. Because there's a good chance they're going to die, and the men who go in, most of them are going to die because they have to break the siege and penetrate the defense. And the thing is, this isn't so. The other soldiers respect what these guys have done. They've been through the hard stuff, and they keep doing the hard stuff. So they want men like this to help them because it makes them feel emboldened. Again, this is a sort of suicide charge they have to do. And now one of the things that they give. So at a previous siege, the British soldiers didn't. The officers not control them very well because it's always the officer's fault when this happens. Even though they blame the enlisted men, they were raping and stealing and murdering and doing horrible things that happen when sieges are broken. So this time, everyone's been told by the officers, by the sergeants, if you do this stuff, if you rape anyone, if you murder anyone, any civilians are protected. They're not to be harmed. If you steal stuff, you will be hung. All of you will be hung on the spot, So here we have Sharpe, who can't go in on the siege, but he's been told to lead the men who would take the lament, the Forlorn Battalion or whatever, to lead them to the front line, to the gap, to the optimum point that they could charge that breach. Very well done. You have all those other soldiers are waiting for the breach to occur so they can go in. Now Sharpe has to watch while all these men go in because he knows he's exempt. Like he's not allowed to be in this, Here and this is them going down. The French soldiers are holding the defense. The also are watching as they see their fellows die because they knew people ordered to go in that breach, they were going to die. And this is so they send another wave of guys in, and not a lot of them because the cannon fire gets some of them, but they are getting to the wall. The wall is the thing that's going to kill them, not these cannons and. So Sharpe sees that things are falling apart, so he's advancing to try to see what's going on. Wyndham himself to rally the men is leading troopers in to see if they can do the breach. So at this point, you gain respect for Wyndham completely now. Hear it in my voice, man. He's with the men. He's not a rear echelon at MF to use a modern military term. He's with the men. He's going to live with his men or die with his men on this siege. And the siege and the French are holding up. They're resisting. They're not the British aren't penetrating, right? And this is when the captain who has Sharpe's unit gets killed trying to rally the men. And this comes down and now the men are falling back because they're losing their momentum. Now, Sharpe does something really cool here, right? So he knows his men are best used as counter suppressive fire to make it so they could use their rifle to have more range and could fire more often than these muskets to suppress the French in the gap so they could penetrate that gap. So now that Sharpe's men are starting to rally to Sharpe, and now Sharpe is the highest ranking officer in command of that unit, basically. Well, not in that unit, but the highest ranking officer nearby. And Sharpe sees, he knows the breach has to be done because he knows this guy's going to keep ordering it till it ends. No choice about that. So the guy orders in. Sharpe sees what's going on, and he decides he's stepping up. He and his men, they're gonna Sharpe gives his own rifle to the guy with the one who's the most accurate guy in his unit, and they're gonna make this breach. They're gonna go in proper. They're gonna take the French guys out at range. So a lot of these guys are laying there trying to pretend to be dead, so they don't get killed by the French. So, and there's more guys at the bottom of the trench. So they go in, they charge, they rally the guy at the bottom, and you see you'll see Sharpe's men, even though they're climbing with them, you'll see them start to use their accuracy of their rifles to take out the French guys. See, the guys are rallying behind Sharpe and his men, but Sharpe's guys are sharpshooting them basically off the top, making the penetration possible. Hakes will have been hiding underneath other bodies to survive. Now they've got the breach on, and they're looking. They're basically pouring in now. They won the breach. What Hakes wants to do now is find Sharpe's wife and basically grape her and kill her and the kid. Sharpe is enraged. He wants to, now he's killing a guy, but the French have surrendered. Harper stops Sharpe from going nuts and potentially being hung for killing people. And it says Teresa, one of Sharpe's officers finds Teresa. He wants to protect her for Sharpe, and he does that. But Obadiah Haskell here comes in behind, and he wants to do his dirty work, and this young lieutenant doesn't know Obadiah so Obadiah shoots him, and then Teresa's father, I think it's her father or her uncle or something, he's gonna get killed by the assaulting British because they don't know he's a partisan. Now they see Hakes will do with this woman who many of them know is Sharpe's woman right at this point. Some of them don't. You see the British soldiers breaking down, starting to do horrible things, and other soldiers are going to try to stop them and basically hang them on the spot. The looting. Sharpe finds where Teresa is, breaks through. So you have the confrontation with Haskell. They use Haskell. By the way, Haskell talks in his hat like his dead mother's spirit is in there, and they also find the one thing that will exonerate Harper, which is the picture of Wyndham's wife that Haskell stole. But they use Haskell's a little crazy, so they use that advantage to get him off of Teresa. That's the picture of Wyndham's wife that went missing, was in that picture frame we saw earlier. Haskell goes nuts. Sharpe gets him, punches him. He throws him over the edge. So Haskell doesn't die, broken back. And Sharpe wants to kill him. He doesn't have his gun because the other guy has it. Harper takes a shot at him with the big cannon. I think we'll see that. Yeah. So Sharpe and Teresa and the baby together. They're all safe. So Haskell has basically raped and murdered that guy's wife, the widow. I'm presuming that that he either killed or left him alone. He becomes deserted, takes all the loot he stole from the other soldiers. I'm guessing there'll be revenge on him later. And this is evaluation after the battle of all the dead and wounded. And Sharpe gets his promotion basically, back to being captain. And the loss of the battle and all that. Sharpe has his unit back. And this is when they clear Harper from the theft. They show him, they say who had the picture and all that. So all in all, it's a great episode. And it's not as like I said, compared to the first two, either they edited out those scenes which explain a few of the plot holes, which you can figure out, because the way they do it, something happened in between. It just you have to think about it for a minute to understand what it was, right? So either edit them out, or they never filmed them, or they never wrote them. I'm wondering if the people who adapted this years ago read the book and sort of, like in their head, they knew it, so they wrote it in a way that, you know what I mean? It's been going on for quite a while with this review. I want to watch the next one, of course. So, not quite as good as the first two, maybe a 7.5 out of 10. Great performances. The story is overall great. The drama is great. It's really heartstring pulling moments in there, and worth watching. So, thank you. My name is Matt. This has been Unbearable 73. Videos up on YouTube and Rumble. Have a nice day. Comment down below if you have any questions. Like if you like, dislike if you dislike. Share if you can. Thank you. I am out of here.